Let me show you, Al, what happened to me this morning.
This morning?
This morning. It's a daily thing. This is today. That came today. Now, people say, why don't you report this and why don't you report that? I had to report the last one, Al, simply because it was horrific. This one isn't too dissimilar.
And this is a daily thing?
This is Al. You can wake up.
I wouldn't even read it out.
Let me read it out, Al, right? I don't know who the person is, but it says, yo, you black... You were never this good. Why are you an icon, you black... Figure I'm a puller, like how all black people get... They don't matter. BLDM, Black Lives Don't Matter. Now, the thing with that, Al, is, like I say, it's a regular occurrence simply because there is no consequence to some of these people's action. They go to court, and like I say, this guy in Ireland, this judge, let him off because it was a first offence. He comes from a decent family. I was getting teased by people saying, Serge, you're right, you want to try to put a kid away, see what happened. Nothing happened. And again, with this, what am I going to do?
Have you reported that?
No.
Why?
I've not reported that, Al. I'd like to say, what's the point? Until the powers that be do something to stop that. This guy, there's no consequence for him. He's going about his business now. We're talking about him, he doesn't even know he's done that. Probably get another one tomorrow or next week simply because I've not responded. But what do you do? What do you do?
So the outcome of the court case, what would have been the ideal scenario for you?
Like I say, I'm not saying I want...
No, I know you don't want him to go to prison
some community service, some education on racism,
education,
you know what I mean? That's what you want. And people say, education, people should know better and their parents should know better. They don't. And they don't know better. But that's all you want. So as then, this guy who's done this today, why should he not do that in his mind? Because he's feeling there's no consequences. When you see that, you've seen what that guy said to me. What do you think of that, Al? You see that?
I mean, I see social media. It's happening more and more on social media. I mean, no way ever would anyone ever come up to you in the street and say that. I mean, that language is... I mean, it's disgusting.
The thing about it is, Al, it makes you feel very dehumanised. You feel like nothing. There's nothing you can do. You're helpless.
When I went to watch football, Newcastle... in the early 80s, when I'm 12, 13, 14, we had a centre-forward, black centre-forward, Tony Cunningham.
Yes.
And one of the songs the Gallagher end used to sing was, he's black, he's brune, he's playing for the tune. And there was thousands sang it. He acknowledged, he clapped, he smiled, and that was his way of saying thanks, I guess. But, I mean...
What do you think of it? How does it sound to you?
Well, I never thought anything of it at the time, but then you look back now and you think, wow, he's black, he's brune, he's playing for the tune. How on earth can thousands of people sing that?
And the thing with it is, Al, if I could explain...
What do you think of that?
Well, the thing with it is, Al, is that they would not sing a song like that about a white player. And what they're doing, Al, without being too, deep and, about trying to explain it, it's bringing you back to just the colour. Like how we used to have blacks, no Irish, no dogs kind of thing. It's just bringing you back down to just simply a colour. Like I have to mention Leeds. And the reason why I mention Leeds, and I know Leeds that's your team.
I used to like Leeds, actually, only because I used to score there all the time.
But the thing with Leeds, Al, remember the first time I went to Leeds, because Leeds was a team of, when I was younger, I loved Leeds simply because of how they played. They were a great team in that. But the first time I went to play there for Palace, probably 85, they were singing stuff to me in Wright, where it would be like, what? And then they'd all point like that. And then that's the kind of stuff where when you go into the dressing room, Al, that shakes you.
That word is I mean, it's horrific.
Yeah. And when it's coming like that and you're helpless, Al, that's the thing. You're sitting there, you're feeling helpless. But the reason why I'm mentioning it and why I've gone so graphic about it is because Leeds fans, and this is where the challenging and reporting stuff comes in now, and we're talking about 80s going through, Leeds fans, they stopped it. They, to a man and a woman themselves, got up, said, we're not having that, we're not accepting that here, and they slowly, one by one, Al, they dealt with it. When you started playing, Al, when you was playing with the black players, did you hear the stuff? And when you went back to the dressing room, how did you feel?
Do you know what? When I made my debut at 17, and there was lots of black players in our dressing room. And I mean, wrongly, I probably heard it, but
you didn't hear it.
I heard it, but I didn't hear it. If you know what I mean.
Weird, huh?
Yeah. And it's only it was brought to my attention by them, which I look back and think, that's not good or clever, that isn't, because I just sort of, it was there, but I didn't really take any notice of it, and I look back and think that's not good.
Yeah, but you say that's not good, Al, but like for me, at the time, I wouldn't expect anything else, because for me as a black player, it was normal to expect. I remember on the television at the time, we'd get stuff. You'd get stuff in Alf Garnett saying Sambo and stuff like that. You get stuff on Love Thy Neighbour back in the day where it was normalised. So I wouldn't expect you to feel like you look at it now, Al, and it's abhorrent. You think, oh my God. But back then, I remember there's not too many times where you'd get a player would come to you and say anything more than, don't take it, no, it's just score a goal and they'll be fine. But what happens is, Al, is that when you go to pick a ball up for the throw on, it's in your face, it's right there. It's quite scary. It's quite intimidating. And there's nothing you can do. I think that's the thing what gets me more than anything else. You're so helpless. And there's no one doing anything. I don't remember being in a dressing room where any of my teammates came in and they was angry about anything other than, don't worry about it, it's fine.
I mean, it's hugely important to talk about it, but it's also tough at times, because I think...
Is it uncomfortable? Do you feel uncomfortable?
I don't feel uncomfortable. What I feel is that I'm worried
about
that
what you say.
I say something wrong, or I get a word wrong, and because of social media, because of TV, that could stick forever. That might never go away. That one mistake that you might make, or a word, or whatever, then you could always be labelled with that. So I'm not scared to talk about it. I'm always conscious of the fact that please don't get a word wrong. It's like, but should I feel like that?
That's the situation I found, especially when the George Floyd kicked off. That I had so many of my white friends and everybody who were just petrified to say anything. What can we do? We don't know what to do. We don't know what to say, because they are scared. And like, even as a black person now, I could say something.
I was going to say, are you worried that you get a word wrong as well?
Al, the thing about it is that what you've got to understand as a black guy, when a racial incident happens, for some reason, you know, this is why you won't see me on those little Vox Poppy doing the 5-minute stuff. For some reason, they feel like they need to get a black person on to try and explain it now. And the pressure that comes with that, right? I get. To get a word wrong, because then you've got the black side that are going to be upset with you. You've got the white side that say he doesn't know what he's on about. And then what happens is, right at the death of that interview, the presenter or someone will say, so what can we do to stop it? You know what I mean? It's almost laughable. Why should I be on there talking about what's happening to me? It should be the other way around. This is what's confusing. And it's the ticking of the box out. Going on a show to say, we've had a black person on talking about it. Yeah. You can't speak about that sort of stuff in 2-3 minutes, Al. You know, but what you do need is white allies, Al. Did you see the Stevie Gerrard interview the other day after the Camaro?
Yes, I saw it, yeah.
It was so good, Al. I was welling up. Because we're talking about a proper legend, you know, who, when he speaks, Al, you'll listen to what he says. Stevie looks you in the eye. And when that happened, he had total faith and trust in what his player told him. And that doesn't happen now. What Stevie Gerrard showed as an ally was, I believe him, to the point where he mentioned, I'll put him up there with my kids. And that's what you need out. He said, he didn't wait for, well, we have to see what happens. We have to see what they say. We have to see the legislation. Well, we can't speak because the lawyers, he just came out and backed him.
I think certainly what has helped me over the past few years is, you might not know it, but you have, because you said to me in the Match of the Day office, Al, ask me whatever you want. You
saying you're being afraid, Al, big Alan Shearer to me, you know what I mean, with everything that you done when we played, you know what I mean, like I always say, I make the joke about, you know, I come in and I've scored 2 in the first, I say, what's Shearer doing? He scored 4. Big Alan Shearer saying, like you just said there, about being afraid to say certain things because of how, in our industry, especially how we are cancelled. It's over. It's finished, depending especially on what you say. The thing about that's to be afraid and still be somebody who's willing to step out of that comfort zone of being afraid because of what it might do. As much as I don't know how it's going to sound to you, is exactly what, as a community, we need. Alan Shearer saying that kind of stuff and coming out being honest about what he's trying to say, knowing that there's pitfalls to what he may say, but he's willing to do that because it's wrong, Al.
I mean, we've both been in the public eye for a long time now. Do you think that a black guy gets treated differently to a white guy?
Without a doubt, Al. Remember the Robbie Fowler house, and how many houses Robbie Fowler had. And it was like something seen as, oh, this is brilliant, well done, Robbie Fowler, you've done really well. And then you look at, even just the other day, Marcus Rashford, who, like any footballer, you want to invest in stuff. He's bought loads of property.
Yeah.
Now, what's happened is that they've delved into his business, his private affairs, to find out that he's buying houses because he's making investments for himself. And then the lines that he put on that is, well, why don't he feed all the kids if he's got so much money buying houses all over the place? You look at Raheem Sterling.
Yep.
You only have to look at Raheem Sterling, how Raheem Sterling was portrayed, and how a Phil Foden buying a house would be portrayed. You read it and you think, oh, here they go again. It's something that, for me, it's so unfair because it's so tough. It's so unfair, Al.
Is it improving? Is it getting better with all of us talking?
Yeah.
It is.
It is getting better, Al, because what's got to happen is that we need big face, big names like yourself who are not afraid to talk about it. It is uncomfortable. Of course it's uncomfortable. Why would you want to speak about something like that? What's got to happen now is that people have to feel uncomfortable talking about it because that's the only way you get to the next level of it, of speaking about it and being comfortable, so as people can see it's much more acceptable to say it because you're trying to understand what's going on. It's so hard to unravel and educate people towards why these things are wrong, why you can't say this.
Do you ever feel like giving up? I mean, with like messages that you've had in the last 24 hours, you must think, what's the point? Of
course, like I say, I could wake up every morning and I could show you a racist DM. And of course that it deflates you for a bit, Al, but you know that we're on the road to better things. Now, of course, we need the powers that be, the people that are in control of these kind of platforms to do more. Of course we do, but for me, I would never give up, Al. But of course I feel like, because like it just feels like you're going nowhere.
If we're still talking about it, then that has to be a good thing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And that's the thing, Al. What you'll find, Al, is that people, like if you see another racial kind of documentary, people go, oh, here we go again. Those are the people we need to get, because it shouldn't be, oh, here we go again. The reason why that show is on, that racial show is on, is because it's still here. It's still prevalent to right now what's going on. And that person wants to block and not have to deal with it. But the thing what we've got more now than we've ever had is so many white people who are very much anti-racist. And they don't want to just stand on the side. They want to make people know that's wrong, we're going to change it. It doesn't change if white people don't get involved. It's as simple as that.
I know you were impressed with an interview that Ben Mee did, weren't you?
Al, the reason why I was so impressed with the Ben Mee interview is because I wasn't expecting that. Was not expecting that from him. Because like I say, you can get a black player to come out and speak as eloquently as he did. But when you get it from a white player like Ben Mee in Burnley and him speak like he did about how abhorrent it is and how in society we shouldn't be accepting this has got to change in that. I felt, again, very emotional simply because he gets it.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of ally we need. Like I mentioned, Stevie Gerrard, Ben Mee, he gets it. Jordan Henderson, they get it. All the things what they do. And those are the people, that's the kind of person that is going to help to get you to the other side. They're the people. If people can continue to have conversations like this, like I say to you, ask me anything, anytime, then we're gonna do a lot of good somewhere along the line.
I'll keep asking. So
nice.
Thanks for today.